This past Monday, Valve surprised a lot of people by announcing the SteamOS, a new, free open-source operating system that seemed perfectly poised to deliver a true console experience built on the Steam framework. The follow-up question on everyone's mind then was, if you have the software, what hardware could you put it on? It brings to mind E3, when companies were showing off new modular computers that seemed at the time to be just a neat way to compact the power of a PC even further, console-sized even, but these would have the option of being upgradable. There were rumors about any one of them being a potential Steam box, but that's all they were, wisps on the wind to tickle your cochleas. But there was hope in form of a second countdown that was set to go off Wednesday noon. The icon looks mysteriously like the SteamOS icon inside of a box. It turns out the entire internet guessed correctly. The second announcement was indeed the Steam box. Kind of. See, Valve is referring to them as Steam machines, plural, because it's not a singular new console being developed by Valve. It's a bit more than that. Valve claims to be working with multiple partners and hardware manufacturers to bring a wide variety of Steam machines to the market during next year, all of which run SteamOS. They have a prototype going into beta soon, and I'll put a link to how to get in down in the description. But here's what we can take away from these two major announcements. One of the big selling points they're quick to point out is that there are already hundreds of games that will run natively on SteamOS, with more making the conversions as necessary between now and then. And the rest of the library will be available via streaming from your already existing PC, which means ostensibly that Steam will have the biggest launch library of any console to date. And they've already told us that there'll be multiple boxes available for purchase of varying sizes, shapes, power levels, price points, made available for multiple manufacturers to match almost any need. But lastly, and potentially most importantly, not only have Valve made available the source code for the actual operating system, but they have given you their full blessing to build your own Steam box, modify an existing one, rewrite the code. Your imagination is literally the limit. Your existing PC? Steam machine. That old one gathering dust? Steam machine. Spare laptop? Nope, Steam machine. Steam machine, Steam machine, Steam machine, Steam machine. I think the Raspberry Pi would be a bit too underpowered for something like this, but there was something kickstarted recently called the Udo that might work perfectly. Now, there are some flaws to making a console surrounding the Steam architecture. For example, Steam kind of has to be connected to the internet a lot in order to receive any of the updates that come quite frequently, because they don't get charged an arm and a leg like they do on the console for doing them. And a lot of the times it has to connect just to allow you to play the ruddy game. And one of the oldest allures of the console is that you didn't have to be connected to anything to play the game. You just pop the game in, turn it on, and then boom, you're playing. So Valve are gonna have to take a lot of steps if they want to reconcile those two facts. Oh, don't! I mean, if your market is mostly Steam users, then they're already going to have internet in the first place, because how else do they get Steam? And so you're mostly set. And then there's the issue of the necessary server-side support to be able to pull something like this off. I mean, people were rather hurt after Maxis and SimCity and Blizzard and Diablo, and they're not so quick to trust again. But out of the entire bunch, I mean, Valve does seem like the one most likely to pull it off, as their entire structure for Steam so far has been exactly that. So maybe it is time to give our hearts away again. But all that said, it was the question at the very bottom of the page that gave me the most pause. The answer to which read, Steam and SteamOS work well with gamepads too. Stay tuned though, we have some more to say very soon on the topic of input. Now, I'm often wary of rhetorical questions, because usually when someone asks a question to themselves out loud, there's a point that they're trying to get the party to guess at. So, taking that very big smoking gun at its word, I did some Google Foo, and I found this. A slightly old patent made back in 2009 for a controller with swappable modular input components, including but not limited to the joysticks, rollerballs, and thumb pads pictured here. The controller base would even be able to detect and respond automatically when a new kind of input component was replaced. Now, we have no way of knowing whether that last icon in the picture is actually that controller or any controller for that matter. Quite frankly, it could be anything. I mean, yes, it does kind of look like a controller, but it could be two Steam operating systems working in tandem, you know, doing some sharing, library sharing thing. Or maybe it's a new way for users to play with and against each other. I mean, who knows? Well, Valve knows. And as they like to say, we will too. Soon. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. We'll see you next time.